Hi guys, welcome back to the BMW Guide channel, and today we've got quite an interesting topic to talk about, and that is going to be the auto stop start system on your BMW. So as you can see here, this is my 2007 BMW 120D M Sport, and today I'm going to be discussing the system on this car, why most people choose to disable it and why you should probably do it too. This goes for all systems on all cars, but for me, for just example's sake, I'm using my car here. Obviously we've got the Golf GTE and the X3 as well here, so I'll be touching on those two as well. But yes, let's get straight into it. So these systems are designed to save you fuel when you're sat at traffic jams and stuff like that. It's designed to switch the engine off automatically, even though the car's, well, once you put the car in neutral and take your foot off the clutch, you'll notice the engine will stop. It only does this when there's enough sort of battery in the car, and all the sort of conditions are met. So if your car is fitted with it but doesn't do it, that's why. It may be that the battery needs replacing or something like that. But if we're looking at it from a practical point of view, what it means is technically it saves you a minute amount of fuel. However, Fifth Gear recently did a test. Well, it's not a recent test, but it's sort of in the last 10 years, so that's fairly recent to me. Sort of when these new systems were coming out, and they actually found that when they actually switched off the vehicle, it didn't really save that much fuel at all, because you're using so little in these modern engines now, when you're idle, that actually the difference between turning it off and not turning it off is negligible. So that's something to bear in mind when you're considering these systems. But my main point of this video is that it's actually accelerating the damage on your engine. So what you've got to imagine is every time you start your vehicle, it uses sort of a part of the lifespan of your vehicle. So I'm just going to open the bonnet and show you. So you can see we've got the bonnet open, and we first need to sort of work out how you start your car up in the first place. So this is a diesel, but it's fairly similar on petrols as well. When you push that button or turn that key within the car, that sends an electrical impulse to the an electrical current to the starter motor, which turns the starter motor. The idea of the starter motor is to turn the engine so that the fuel pump, etc., is all sort of activated, so the fuel system will then start injecting into the cylinders. This is obviously just a very basic way of explaining it, and if it's a diesel, the glow plugs will start to heat up and sort of help ignite the diesel. If it's a petrol, you've got a spark at the top of the cylinder, fuel will go in, the engine will start, the starter motor disengages. So what this essentially does is, basically, by turning your key, you are sort of starting the engine as if on old cars where you have the handle and you crank the engine. That is exactly what the starter motor does. And these starter motors have a lifespan of about 100,000 turns. Obviously it depends, all to do with different manufacturers of cars, etc. Some are designed to do more, some are designed to do less. But say we have 100,000 turns. When your engine is turned off by the start-stop system, that motor then has to kick in again and again and again. So say you do that 20 times within one journey, your starter motor is actually going to wear out sort of 20 times faster than the car without it. So that's something to bear in mind. If you sit a lot in stop-start traffic and your car's constantly turning itself on and off, actually you're not doing yourself any favours, because the start-stop motors, despite the fact that they are often sometimes they do design them to withstand the extra pressures, they're still being used a whole lot more. And this is also to do with the engine as well. So this glow plug system in this car is used a whole lot more than if you just left it running, as it were. And I think this is something to definitely consider when you're sat in traffic, and actually it's going to have more of a detrimental effect on your vehicle to have the car turn off and turn on 5 times every journey. If we take our 20 times in one journey, it's quite a big step, but essentially your car is only going to last 5,000 journeys, whereas if it was the 100,000, then I think, yeah, my maths is correct there. So if it was the 100,000, then it would last a whole lot longer. It would last 100,000 journeys, because it's not constantly having to start itself again. So that is something to bear in mind with these systems. All of the systems you can turn off somewhere in the car. In this car here, it's just a button that you press in the dashboard, and it will turn it off straight away. Now this GTE is slightly different because it's a hybrid system. So what that essentially does is uses the hybrid system to start the engine. So it's less of an impact on here, purely because the car is constantly stopping and starting anyway, because the hybrid system's coming in and cutting out. So that's something to bear in mind with these, is that you may actually start to have starter motor issues sort of in the future, and it may actually limit the sort of lifespan of these starter motors on these engines, because they are used so frequently that it's probably way more than 20 times per journey, obviously depending on what journey it is. In terms of this newer X3 here, this comes with start stop, and this will have the same issues that this car will, except the sort of the benefits of having start stop will be even less, because this engine is going to be so much more efficient than the engine on this older car here. So yeah, these are all things to bear in mind. Now we'll sort of say it is possible to completely remove the system from this car, and that is through Carly for BMW coding. You can do it on this car as well, and this one over here. So what you do is you can download an app and buy an OBD adapter. You can Bluetooth link the car to your phone, and then you can change certain preferences with the car. And what you would do is you just disable the start stop completely. Or what you can also do, if you don't want to turn it off completely, you can disable it, or disable it manually and set Carly to remember every setting that you've done. So next time you turn the car on, it won't default to being back on. That's more of a BMW thing than sort of a general car thing. But yeah, so that's just a quick video, guys, explaining why the stop start system is essentially ruining your engine. So bear that in mind. If you're a regular user of this, then yeah, bear it in mind. If you may not have known it, let me know in the comments. It was quite interesting to see how many people actually don't know this. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.